Hello, this is Frank Orlando. Um, I have been suspecting that somebody has been using a GPS tracker device. Maybe there is other technology at hand. They have a thing called a Stingray, and a Stingray device. I had to Google this. I don't know that it exists, but what it seems to be happening is wherever I go, this person uses a way of tracking. But it seems also that they can call in to anybody that's around me, and then they start making erroneous statements. And then that starts undercutting me. Just now, I'm in Weeden Island. There's a woman and a couple on a scooter, and some of the comments I need to finish. I want to go around and talk to people, and let's go ahead and finish him off. So this is the ruining of Frank Orlando, so that he can't support himself and he is forced out of the area or forced into prison. Today was some messages sent to somebody that I don't really know real well, and I didn't send it. And it was an obnoxious message that I would not send. So it would cause some problems. I don't know how it got there. But I'm kind of, I guess, paranoid, but I really don't care. Definitely this year, I went through 5 jobs. And I didn't get let go a normal way. They had individuals come around me and scare me different ways. And 3 different companies I had threaten my life. One outside of that was another company that talked about a mechanic. A mechanic is a person that you through the process of deducting things so that you fall into your death. They just create a scenario. That's a mechanic. It doesn't mean they don't even need a gun. So I was warned. And so I am really wanting, I think there's a possibility that someone in my family is involved. I can't reach any family members at all, except for my 2 siblings who decided that they don't need to assist me while I've been a victim of crime. In 2017, something very terrible happened to me while I was staying at a rooming house. It was like a poisoning, and I went berserk. Went across the country and got in trouble in Austin for trespassing. Well, it was a cold night, and I was at an abandoned house that was going to get tore down. And I walked into it. I had never been arrested for a charge prior to that. I never want to break the law, okay? I'm not a lawbreaker. And I had to do 3 months in jail. I think my records got expunged. And I am documenting this because I am not going to be able to sustain myself. There also been talks while I've been staying at shelter that they're going to try to force me out. I don't know if that will happen, but when I'm forced out, then it gets a lot harder to survive. They can prevent me from eating. This is to kill me. I have nowhere. I kept getting messages that I had to leave the area, but personally, leaving the area does not mean that the problems go away. It just means that they have succeeded in doing something to me. I do not believe it stops, because it never stopped. When I went in 2017, I was terrified of something, and I kept driving in a fashion that was not safe, terrified, fearful. But my mental health was a lot worse during that period. That entire 2 or 3 months, I was not functioning really well. I could not function well at all, even with everyday things. But I did manage to survive. I want to tell you about things that have happened throughout my lifetime that really destroyed my life, and I was able to rebound. This time, I don't believe I'm going to be able to rebound unless the government steps in. Um, and they're going to try to prevent me from working here in the Bay Area. This is my hometown. My grandmother was born in 1925 in Tampa, Catherine Frances Kaler, who later became Catherine Frances Lissack. And she was born in 1925 in Tampa. My grandfather moved in from Michigan, Herman, on my mom's side, right after World War II. He went to Daytona for 6 months to a year, and then the winter season ended and he had to find work, and he went to Tampa, and then he moved his family. So we're talking probably, my mom was born in 1946. She was a year old before she moved to Florida. She was born in Michigan, my mom. So she was a year old living in Tampa, Florida. So, and then my two uncles on my mom's side were born here, I believe. So my family's had a strong presence. Mr. William Kaler, Catherine's either adopted father or father, was here a lot earlier than 1925. So maybe as far back as the 1900s. He would work between New York and Tampa. He built the Davis Island seawall, and he did the Chrysler Tower, according to Jeffrey Hildebrand, who was one of my uncles. There is misinformation. There are 3 Orlandos that were born with Catherine Lissack, 3 children with the Orlando last name. Yet they're not on this posting that I recently did that shows Jack Rain in place of Mr. Orlando. We never heard about Jack Rain. And then there's Mr. Lissack. So I guess the Lissacks are trying to separate themselves from being related to the Orlandos. Well, maybe there is something that my sisters have done. I don't know. My sisters, when they get into this mindset of disconnection, that's forever. My sister, Jody, treated her mother. She got worse with her behavior towards her mother. Now, I want to tell you that Jody helped me way more than Olivia. Olivia is never rude. But as far as help, Jody Orlando did a lot more help. But it still isn't really recently, out of a couple of years, she gave me $125 and said, don't ever look for anything. In fact, I won't even store your stuff. I'll throw it in the trash. So basically, I've had to just give things away rather than, if I have no hope of storing anything. I'm in a little tiny storage unit. If I don't get a job soon, today I went in for a job. I was supposed to, so it's just a second interview. And the guy just said, never mind. A second interview. He asked me, do you remember who you talked to? And I said, no. I was so excited about working. So make sure you'll remember all your job details when you come in for your second interview, because that's a reason for them not to hire you. So it's been really hard on me. I am now homeless, and I'm staying in a shelter, hearing conversation that I'm going to be pushed out for no reason other than slander and problems. And 1 or 2 of the people said they were going to steal everything I own that are in the shelter last night. It's terrible. So I'm going to be finished off unless the law enforcement steps in. They're going to finish me off. The whole term is called ruining. You become a target, and they pay people to make trouble all around you. They use a tracking device, possibly some police equipment or technology that has not been discovered yet. Maybe they do an implant into your skin. Something was done to me by an organization without my consent. I don't know. Maybe there is a tracking device within my body. Anyhow, It hurts me a lot. I want to work. They have made me look so terrible. Um, my was in high school. I had a number of cars. I had a Dodge Dart, was my first car. Then I had a souped up Olds, um, and I was asked to get rid of it. And it wasn't exactly I could make it run well for racing. It, I think it had 600 horsepower. It was very powerful. Um, but it didn't necessarily win races because I wasn't a mechanic. Um, and so anyhow, I want to be free of this crime syndicate that's attacking me, which possibly my family could be involved in it. The fact that my two siblings do not want to assist me makes me believe that they are. They said to my mother that she was an alcoholic. That was their reason, that they couldn't reason with her, but Jody would create arguments with her, and then it would upset her mother, and her mother feeling that you're my daughter, you're supposed to respect me. Well, no, that is a way for her to make sure that she doesn't have to interact with her mom. So that's where I'm at with my sister now. So here's the situation. My uncle Tony and Herman Jerichow, Tony Orlando or Anthony Orlando, and Anthony Bruce Orlando and Herman Nealon Jerichow both died within 2 weeks apart. My mother died with a bruise on her head that could have been, and there was gun waving 2 months before she died. Few months, a couple of guys came into their rooming house that they had fixed up and was waving a gun. I do not know what that was. She got through it. I did not call the police because she got through it. But then a number of months later, my sister interacted with the police, which is strange because she never interacted with her personally. Maybe if I had had an opportunity to talk to the police, they would have been able to list it as not a natural cause because she had COPD from smoking. That's what they claim. But she had a bruise right over her eye, which my sister claimed happened. My sister, being angst and angry, just treated her like crap. She's dirty and whatever. So she didn't get a fair investigation, which means there's multiple family members. All my uncles and aunts are gone, dead. Natalie, I don't know what's happened to her. I cannot reach her. There is the entire Vegas family. My father's family mostly is out in Vegas now, or out in Nevada, and they are not reachable. They have never been allowed to talk to me, and so they are not there to be a support. They supported my father, and they treated me as though I abandoned him. Well, he abandoned me in a trailer at Sam's Club casino with no instructions and no food, no resources for several days. At a certain point, I walked away and went to my mother's house. Then he locked my two sisters in the trailer. So he's sick. He's mentally ill. So I had enough of it. I had enough of Vegas and came to Florida as a kid in my 14s. I started a new life. I went and visited my dad at 23, and he could not respond to me right in front of his mother. I had no more time I didn't need to invest any energy towards my father. I had planned to see if I could connect with him and be assistant, but since Catherine, my grandmother, could not acknowledge that she didn't understand and didn't want to talk to me, to hold a real conversation to find out I was not here to live. To visit my father, and you have nothing to say to explain to me what's happened to him. I wasn't aware of what happened to him. So I can't give you any assistance if you can't give me any information. That's the end of it. But maybe this is a punishment to punish me for not being there for my father. Well, I'm 3,000 miles away, and nobody can explain to me what happened to him. Um, as a teenager, the third car, Dodge Dart, souped up Olds Cutlass. Third car was a yellow car that we got from Bruce Mills, and he was going to fix it up and sell it. And it was to get me out of the hot rod, and it did. I sold the hot rod, maybe to somebody he knew. It had a specialized 442 engine in it. It was an old Cutlass, but it had a 442 engine. Bruce Mills may have worked out a deal. Who knows? I sold it for $800, and it had many thousands of dollars invested in it. Then I sell the yellow car because I wanted something still sportier than this little Toyota Corolla, 79 Toyota Corolla. We had totally done a rejob, paint job. So then this Z car is a 2+2. My uncle had Jaguars, and he offers me this a 260Z 2+2. We switch it out, the emission controls with Weber carbs, and we had a head gasket problem, wiring problems. Then the clutch goes out. I sent it to Cotman's Transmission. And the flywheel, apparently, one of Cotman's Transmission guys, this is what Bruce Mills said, flattens it. So it slips. I wanted to get a new flywheel. Before he even opened his mouth, I said, the only thing, kept saying, I can't figure this thing out. I have my grandfather as a diesel mechanic and his sidekick, and they don't got enough sense to turn around and go get a new flywheel. And he turns it, and a week or two later, the clutch starts slipping again. And I'm not going to go through this again. I have been without a car. I'm working in construction and I need an automobile. So I'm forced out of the Z car. A totally restored, gorgeous 260Z 2+2. Cotman's Transmission screws me, and for some mysterious reason, my grandfather and his sidekick, awesome mechanics, all of this mechanics can't seem to solve it. So I get a Celica GT, have that about 6-7 years, and I get a Nissan pickup. Bruce Mills is the person that gets me that Nissan pickup truck. I drive that 10 years. In 2005 or 6, I go to California for a festival in California. And so anyhow, so I suspect from then on there's a couple other, there's a Saturn, 2 Saturns, the engines go bad. There's another Nissan pickup where the engine goes and tranny go out on Christmas Day. That's a tampering. Then I got a large sum of money. I pay a couple $1,000s for a truck and the engine goes bad on the very first day. That's all a scam. The whole thing is a scam. By the time I get in, I got 10 grand. I send it to a mechanic shop. I get a remanufactured engine from Advance Auto Parts, and that's $2,400, and that's supposed to have a warranty. And it uses 5 quarts of oil, and so there you are. A history of people tampering with my automobile to make money off me. And leaves me. Why am I riding a bicycle? Because I can't keep people from leaving me alone. So I'm being forced out. My trailer situation, I believe I was forced out. Tampering was done on my home, my trailer. And then I wasn't allowed to work for a whole year. So the money I had, instead of being able to reinvest it, I still can't get to work. And so I want these people, and I believe it's possible that my family, a couple of my family members, are involved in something where they hurt you. They're not being there to support me, and they could be involved in crime. But I'm just saying there's some type of history going on. where I keep getting held back and held down. Do you have to understand that I was in Tallahassee? I had a school bus and I had it parked in a campground on 50th Street. And the fuel pump didn't work. Somebody tampered with the fuel pump. I had to tow it. I had a job in North Florida. And another happened. So they, the school bus is now up in North Florida on a piece of property. And I had to abandon it. I couldn't find work. I keep going all over the place. Then my car, the Saturn car, I'm out in the country. And I mean, literally, nobody will hire me. I'm running out of cash. And I'm 30 miles out in the country from the nearest large city. The nearest town is a tiny town called Monticello. It's 8 miles away. And I basically had to go and abandon my bus home. That bus home would be worth over 20 grand today. It was really well done, and there's a video of it. That's not an accident. I couldn't find any work, and I had to come back. My sisters, I come back, and they give me only 2 weeks each. I keep going 3 or 4 times back and forth between my 2 sisters. 2 weeks. And they would create an argument and force me over. And then finally, I just am kicked out by Jody's husband then I have only 1 or 2 days at day labor work. And luckily I found a rooming house and it saved my life. And that was like in 2012, and I was there before. So there is a list of crime. Someone is doing a lot to make very difficult. And this is a criminal attack that's been going on. Also at USAVE, a group of gang members. I don't know what they were, and I'm scared of them. That was definitely organized crime that came up and attacked 5 bad boys. And we don't know what that is. I was about 17, 18 years old. Maybe 16. I was young. They came into the USAVE market on Henderson one night and they jumped us. They had chains, all kinds of things. The manager then was John Phillips. I don't know what went on. John Phillips was the kind of guy who would beat the crap out of people if they stole or did something wrong. He was a tough guy. He was a manager. But we don't know what happened, but something terrible was going on at that market. So I have been a victim of crime for a long time. But it is so terrible now that it's probably going to kill me. That's it.